listening to Sports Radio Detroit.
Witness, if you will, a horror podcast that is knowledgeable and awesome, and you would find grave discussions.
Wait, is that us?
It is actually.
Oh my god!
Welcome to episode 55, the Dimension of Imagination. I am Barnabas,
And I am Samael.
This week's episode is going to be all about Jordan Peele's The Twilight Zone. But of course, we're going to be mentioning the original series as well. But before we get into all of that, we do have to give a shout out to Sports Radio Detroit, our gracious hosts.
Yes, and you can find them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Sports Radio Detroit, SRD, not Detroit Sports Radio. There's a very important key difference.
Correct.
Today I'm very what's it called? I just have etiquette, and I'm just very. Yeah. I'm like the first white American accent,
it's very becoming of you.
Yes, it's the George Washington right here. I'm I'm very mature. I'm more mature than everyone I know. That's the voice, that fucking condescending, I sound English, but I'm from an American family accent.
There you go. So let's get right into the news off of that. So first up, some hot takes. Mark Hamill officially announced as the voice of Chucky in the new Child's Play coming out this summer.
Honestly, I was super skep about Child's Play because I just assumed Chucky was going to be like this killer robot. But now that Mark Hamill's voicing him, I was super okay with that because he could probably do any voice he wants,
Yeah.
And he's like a fucking legend because of the whole Joker thing.
Right.
But I just don't want Chucky to sound like Joker. Hello, Andy. Or should I say Batman? It's no,
I don't think so. Well,
wrong universe, Jokey.
There was a video where apparently it was the new Mark Hamill voice, or the laugh, rather, for Chucky in the new movie.
How is it?
But it basically sounds like the Joker, so it makes me think it's not that real, but I have no idea.
I swear to God, if Chucky sounds like the Joker and he's just
yeah.
Oh my God, no! Well, I'm gonna walk out of that theater.
Apparently, Mark Hamill actually voiced Chucky in a Robot Chicken episode, way back in the day. So he actually has done the character before, so nobody can really be upset about it, But that's the last thing I'm going to say on
it. Oh man. Okay, next.
Yeah. So the next thing is that Midsummer, Ari Aster's sophomore effort after the hit Hereditary,
which was one of the most badass films of last year, if I may add.
It was.
Period. Objectively. No, it's not objective, but if you have good taste in horror and you like atmosphere rather than shitty jump scares, and you want some shit that's going to shake you to your core and have you have very personal thoughts about it, then, Hereditary was for you.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Midsummer is coming out July 3rd now, officially. It originally had an August date, so that's dope. I'm excited.
I mean, how are they going to call it Midsummer and release it in August? Bitch, That's the end of summer. That's almost the finish line.
I think they realized that after. They're like, oh shit,
dude,
wait.
That's 10 feet close to the end zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, basically. So into the real news articles here now. The first one just announced today, I think actually, Tobin Bell from Saw fame and Adrienne Barbeau, legendary The Fog, and everything. So they are going to star in an adaptation of Stephen King's Gray Matter for the new Creepshow coming out on Shudder.
You know what I like about this new Creepshow? It's staying true to Stephen King.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because they're trying to respect the original Creepshow as well. And that means basically, respecting Stephen King.
Oh, yeah.
And George Romero.
Have to. So, rip.
Yeah. And apparently Greg Nicotero is going to be directing this episode as well.
Oh, he's dope, bro. Period.
Yeah, he's really phenomenal. I mean,
dude, you see him all over the horror community too, not just in the shit he's involved in. You see him on the Halloween interviews. You see him giving his opinions on literally every little matter in horror. Like the dude's been around, man.
He's passionate, you know, so that's
what we need.
That's a main reason that I'm excited about the new Creep Show.
Hell yeah.
Also just all the stars that have been cast so far.
I can't wait to just buy the
horror icons,
the
you
whole
know?
like new Creep Show set.
Yeah. So let's move on now. Speaking of horror legends, Fred Williamson, William Sadler, Martin Kove, and others join Stephen Lang in a new film called VFW. And this one sounds pretty cool because it's basically about all these veterans, and they have to like protect something like Drifter or something like that from a bunch of like mutants.
And like a they said like there was this guy, he's like in charge of it all, but then like his like underlings are mutants. Sounds like sometimes they come back.
It does sound really cool. It's exciting that all of these, it's like the horror Expendables kind of, you know?
Yeah.
It's just got all these older horror veterans now. So
it's badass.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm pumped to see what happens. So be on the lookout for that one. Once we have more information, we'll let you know. And the last article is about The Conjuring 3. And it was officially announced that it's coming out in September 2020.
I swear, I wish you would have just not told me this until like 2020 started at least.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping to see it this year too, but
at least we have the new Annabelle movie.
Exactly, because the new Annabelle movie is still going to star Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga.
Nice.
So that's probably why The Conjuring 3 was pushed back.
Oh yeah,
because they had to be on that.
They always got to throw in those damn Annabelles as if the Conjuring.
I know.
They just keep adding shit. Like, when are they gonna fuck up Valak? And you know what I'm saying? Like,
I was fine with Annabelle Creation or whatever, you know, because it was a pretty good movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Creation was way better than the first Annabelle to me.
Exactly.
It was better than like Annabelle Creation for me was like right after The Conjuring in terms of how much I liked it.
But did they need to do more after that? I feel like not really.
I think so, because like there needs to be like a cap on it, because they introduced Valak, they gave his whole backstory in The Nun, and now we gotta like just fucking we gotta deal with everything in this universe and finalize it. Annabelle, the newest one, takes place modern day, I'm assuming, as does The Conjuring 3. So eventually, I think both are either gonna have some resolution or some just everyone's fucked, you know?
Yeah. I guess I'm also confused about where Annabelle Comes Home fits in the chronology,
because like it looks like it takes place like today, because like they've always been keeping that doll, and now they open it and let it, and that girl lets it loose. Like that's probably around the same time as Conjuring 3. Conjuring 3 is probably going to be the sequel to Annabelle, kind of in a way.
And their daughter wasn't that old, right? In the old movies, so yeah, it has to be a sequel.
That's probably like the newest one, like, and then Conjuring 3 is going to be like probably the follow-up
after that.
Yeah, even though it's called Conjuring 3 and not Annabelle, the fourth sequel.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I feel like Annabelle Comes Home actually looks pretty decent, except that it's still very reliant on the jump scares.
Yeah, that's what, even in the trailer, bro. Like, you saw in the trailer how many jump scares there's going to be.
And the same, you know, look under the bed and then get your feet snatched out from the bed.
Or like,
the same.
Or like, turn around, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Turn around again. Nothing in front of you, and the camera turns behind them again, and there's something there, and it just pops out.
Like, listen, we're pretty forgiving a lot of the time, us specifically, you know.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But stuff like that is just so easily realized, and like, it's just obvious that it's bad because it's overused.
Oh yeah, fuck
you know? So that's the only thing that I wasn't a fan of in the trailer, but other than that, it looked pretty good.
See that? I hope like horror like gets away from that Blumhouse feel. And like starts getting into that, as we saw earlier, the scary stories to tell in the dark feel.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, after watching that trailer, which is, you know, our next trailer we got to talk about. Dude.
Yeah.
And that's apparently, as you said, it's probably only based off the first book. So we're going to have 2 more movies after this. And you see a group of kids in a house and some monsters. You're like, all right, this is going to be some classic horror shit right here.
Yeah, because I don't remember. I mean, I remember a lot of like the stories in the books, but I don't remember exactly which stories were in what book. But we know that it's got the spider thing, the toe one. What else? that like fat
Yeah,
monster in the hallway or whatever. Yeah,
with the long hair.
hmm And then like the Scarecrow and like a bunch of other ones, but I don't remember exactly which books those were in. But I hope there are sequels. But yeah, this one looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks kick ass. Like
The atmosphere.
that's the main thing about it that had me. That's what really does it for me nowadays. Like nothing really scares me other than like an eerie score with like foreboding music and nice atmosphere. Like because I just like it makes me feel uneasy. Not scared, but like just like ugh, what the fuck.
I feel like that extreme Asian shit is the only stuff that can like scare me anymore.
Oh man, those guys are ruthless.
But I try to avoid those movies because I'm like I don't know what I'm gonna see, so I like kind of don't want to see
Like
exactly.
Cause see,
But
knowing us, I don't want to go into a horror movie and then be all paranoid after because I'm like fucking toasted or something.
Yeah.
Like I want to sit down and watch like Demon Night.
right.
Like,
But
that's the type of shit I love.
this movie looks like it has
Badass
potential
everything.
to be really quite good, and it looks actually pretty scary because there's a one particular scene and like I think they're in like a jail or something like that because I think there's like a jail cell. I don't remember, but it's the one that's like crawling on the ground.
Yeah, like
That one looks
backwards.
good, yeah.
That shit looked badass. Kind of looked CGI heavy at that point, but I don't really even care because this is gonna be like some Silent Hill type shit. You know what I mean?
Right,
That's what it looks like. Was it next month now? Yeah, May 3rd. So, guys, the Ted Bundy movie with that Zac Efron guy is coming.
Yeah, extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile, or basically, AKA that Ted Bundy movie with Zac Efron.
Yeah, that's what I call it. I'm not gonna call it what. Because, dude, this seems like a 1950s title for a movie, doesn't it?
I kind of dig it. It's like different.
It's retro as fuck.
Like I want to call my smart horror movie, like the escapades of so and so,
Like
just
the
get
day
crazy
that
with it.
March transformed in the eve of the
Yeah.
bronze shadow.
Yeah, whatever. But anyway, the movie looks pretty dope. Zac Efron plays a really convincing Ted Bundy, I think. And, he's got all the girls ogling him in the trailer.
He looks just like Ted Bundy. I'm sorry.
He really does. Are we sure that Zac
Except
Efron
he
is not a
doesn't-
serial killer?
And he doesn't have the unibrow, though. That's the only thing that's missing.
Yeah. I mean, objectively speaking, Zac Efron is probably much more attractive than Ted Bundy
Oh, yeah.
was. Except like if Zac Efron wanted to be a serial killer, he probably could be. You know what I'm saying?
But, like, I like what the trailer did because, like, he had, like, a chick in it and, like, he convinced her that he's not doing it. And she's like, oh, the truth will come out. It's like, it just goes to show you, man, these serial killers are manipulative as shit.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the light they were trying to dawn on that.
There are
As if we
people
didn't know.
in real life I feel like are serial killers sometimes, but let's move on now to our first segment of the week, and it is the Cult Corner. In this week's Cult Corner, we've got a real underground, literally,
Yeah. You fuck.
creature feature from the 80s, no less, called The Boogens.
I saw this one on Amazon. And I told Barnabas about it. I was like, yo, look at this movie. And he's like, what the fuck is Boogens? So I was like, we will find out.
Yeah.
So I bought it, and apparently it's like super hard to find. Like you can't really find it. People look for this movie. They talk about it on YouTube. They're like, yeah, this is one of those hard to find. So I picked it up because they only had 7 left.
Uh-huh.
And the cover looked badass. It looked hella retro. And who can resist the Boogens?
That's true. Yeah. It's a bait title for sure. It's like, well, I don't know what's a Boogens.
Yeah.
So you check it out, and you never really find out what the Boogens is that much, but
We can assume it's the monster.
yeah. Well, there's a cool like bit of trivia. Apparently, it was initially supposed to represent, I guess, like how you feel when you're, I don't know, scared or something like that. And then it was like a form of boogeyman or something like that. I guess referring to the monster.
Okay.
But, yeah. The Boogens is about a group of miners.
And we mean the people who work in mines. Unlike the back of this movie says, this movie spelled minors, M-I-N-O-R, like a bunch of 16-year-olds just went and opened them. Guys, we got to open these mines. We're kids. It doesn't matter. Like, that's it.
Yeah, no, but they were like real miners, and they went to go open this mine after some incident where like a bunch of people died and got caved in or something like that.
And there was one survivor, and he knows about them monsters.
Yeah, now he's like an old guy, but they go to reopen it, and of course, they let something out.
Of course, otherwise it wouldn't be a horror movie.
Yep.
It's kind of like the feel it gave me, like it was like Small Town, so it was like My Bloody Valentine / Evil Dead-ish to me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because like the whole cabin and shit.
It definitely felt like
even
My
the
Bloody
camera.
Valentine to me.
Oh yeah, like I don't know why, it just had like that same like feel to it. Except My Bloody Valentine was a lot better,
and it was a slasher. This movie was definitely a creature feature, but this movie took sort of a different approach because it really didn't show the monster like almost at all.
But it showed
until like the end of the movie.
Classic getting dragged away by the feet scene. And then we saw like tentacles, so we assumed it was like this killer octopus or something.
Yeah, I was hoping it was not like a hentai monster or something like that, but
the hentai like sex with chick monster. Like, why does everyone know about that?
I don't know. Anyway,
we all accidentally
I don't know about that.
As kids, we all accidentally typed in DragonBallX.com instead of Dragon Ball Z, and we saw the tentacles fucking the chick.
Anyway,
and we told our parents it was an accident when they found it on our history, but we know what we were looking for. We were looking for tentacle sex.
These monsters ended up being quite a bit different than I even really imagined.
Yeah,
but they were cool monsters, honestly.
For a low budget film, these monsters looked fucking dope.
Yeah, they had like these big bulging eyes, like insect eyes or something like that, and their faces were like super weird. And I can't even describe their bodies. It's just like too odd.
They were like they weren't tall. They were kind of like longish.
They crawled on the ground.
Yeah, and like you never really see them throughout the movie, like at all. But you see people getting just annihilated, and then you see a dog get pulled into a metal vent.
Yeah, that was sad.
Yeah, that was fucked up. Dude, that was the smartest fucking dog ever, and they had it in a low budget. Whose dog was that, man?
Fun fact: apparently, it was 2 dogs.
Oh shit!
Yeah. So I just discovered that
only one of them died.
I don't know. Apparently there were 2 dogs used, and he definitely was one of the best characters in my opinion.
Dude, he was the best character. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. That's the unfortunate thing. I didn't care about any of the characters at all.
Yeah.
I totally don't. They all look the same to me. 80s white people
are all the same.
Are all the same person.
Dude, take the people from Boogens, right? Take the people from the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Besides Ash, right?
Yeah.
And take the like most of the people from Creepshow 2, The Raft, and
combine them all together,
and you won't be able to tell who's from what movie. That's
yeah, that's a good way to describe
it. No one's gonna be like, you were in the Boogens, right? No, fuck no.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't really care about the characters in My Bloody Valentine either, but this movie especially less, other than the dog. But so I didn't really care when they died. There were some pretty cool death scenes. It was mostly just that they were all POV, and then they ended up getting dragged away by a tentacle, like you said. And it was just a lot of that until we got to the end, and then you were like, oh, okay, oh, fuck. Like, okay, that's what it looks like. And that's for, like, I don't know, what was it, like 10 minutes?
Yeah, probably.
Of the movie or something like that. I could be wrong. I don't know. It was cool, but I kind of wish that we had seen more of the creatures. That was
at least
really
more than
my
just
only
their
gripe.
fucking tentacles.
Yeah.
This was like one of those movies where they wait to finally reveal the killer, except this time it was a monster. Like they used like the slasher fucking formula for this, which was confusing.
No, if it's a monster movie, I want to see the monster.
Dude, it had it was like a slasher, It was like that movie Scream where the fucking
the
ghost killer, except this one was a monster.
Yeah. It's an interesting kind of direction to go with monster movies.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be like, body count style.
Yeah. Because for like the first, I would say maybe like half of The Monster, which we discussed, it was kind of more of a suspenseful movie.
Yeah.
And it built it up with like the rain and all that stuff. But then like the rest of the movie, we saw the monster and it was a lot more action packed.
Yeah.
And this movie had those slasher type kill moments. And then the rest of it was all just random mine drama.
Yeah,
you know, like,
dynamite being thrown.
yeah,
Real dynamite, by the way. This isn't special effects. They're blowing up these fucking mines.
yeah. Well, I learned that for the climax of the movie, they did use a real mine.
Oh,
but
shit.
that the rest of the mine scenes were all built in like an unused department store or something like that.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
No fucking way.
Yeah, seriously.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, I got to read more about that, but
Dude, Boogens is badass.
Yeah.
One thing I really wanted to comment about Boogens, like, for it being low budget, fuck me, is the cinematography like ahead of its time.
it's good. Yeah,
Like, it's very good.
I mean, I wouldn't say that any of the shots are super dynamic.
No,
but
no.
it's just framed really well. The angles are good.
Exactly. Yeah, it was like, it was
And
basic, but it was like done hella well.
the POV was good too. You know, the monster POV.
It didn't seem like,
So
until the POV, like, it didn't really seem like a 1980s flick. You know what I mean? Like,
kind of. Yeah.
it kind of had, it was 1981, but this had that like late 80s feel. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like fucking Night of the Demons 2 type feel.
Yeah, I can agree with that because pretty much everything else coming out in the 80s was either very like sporadic, you know, and quick, like Halloween got kind of later on.
Yeah.
And then there was like the really paced, like methodical stuff, kind of like Evil Dead,
Mhm.
you know? So this movie, though, was, I don't know, it was kind of different, I guess.
It wasn't bad at all. I mean,
Mm-mm.
the acting wasn't bad because, you know, we're watching it with Mukum and he usually comments when there's bad acting. Like,
Yeah.
he'll be like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
but no, there was like maybe the first getting dragged away scene.
I
That
mean,
was about
it wasn't like super impressive acting or anything like that, but yeah, it was totally passable, you know?
I think the special effects were pretty badass too.
Yeah. Apparently, there was only one monster made for this movie. I just read through all the trivia on IMDb, so
Okay.
that's how I know. But there was only one monster made, so they had like 2 or 3 monsters at the end, but it was only one actual
Like, yeah,
thing,
the
which
one
makes
that-
more sense because
yeah.
it would have been so much more money to actually build another monster
Damn.
that was like fully functioning and everything, you know. So it makes complete sense, but
Damn
that's
you,
a cool
budget constraints.
tidbit. Yeah, I know. I wanted to see like a whole army of them,
I
like
did too.
Chud or something.
that would
you
have
know?
been crazy.
And you know, the Boogens is kind of similar actually. It's got, you know, mind dwelling monsters. So it's a pretty cool monster flick. Due to the pacing and structure of just the movie itself, I don't really know if it has a lot of rewatch value.
Yeah.
Just because it's like I don't want to wait until the end just to see the best part of the movie, basically. So that's the only thing I'll say about it. But this is a total like rare gem. So if you guys can get your hands on it, I would definitely recommend it.
Oh yeah.
Cause especially if you're into creature features, because
Yeah, just add it to the collection.
yeah,
Watch it once and then watch it once a year. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, definitely go check it out, guys. Next up, though, we're going to move on to our main discussion, but we're going to give a couple quick shout outs to some other SRD shows.
Hi, this is Chris.
And this is Roger.
And if you like Tigers baseball, Major League Baseball, Minor League Baseball, analytics, pop culture references, movies, sports, food, check us out. Look for Tigers SRD on iTunes, Google Play, or Spotify.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jeremy Bryant. Catch me, E, and Brian on Pearson's Piece, 8 to 9 a.m. on Sports Radio Detroit Network, CRB, on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere else you can find podcasting.
Welcome back, horror lovers. This week, we're going to be discussing another Jordan Peele venture, but it's not a film, it's a TV series, The Twilight Zone.
I never expected it to make a comeback, but you know, now Twilight Zone, Creep Show. What's next? Tales from the Crypt?
There were rumors about that, but apparently it got canceled or something like that. I don't know. I do kind of want to see it, as long as, of course, the original voice, John Kassir, can come back, you know.
That would be sick. Because no one can emulate him, honestly.
Yeah.
No one.
No.
Even people who can imitate him.
I can like kind of do the laugh, but not nearly as perfectly, of course.
I can't even emulate that voice. There's some voices I can emulate easily, but that one was just
But Rod Serling, though, is pretty incomparable, man. I mean, he's got such a unique, mysterious, like lonely kind of voice.
He has that.
you know?
He has a classic voice,
Yeah.
like the kind of voices you only heard when movies with audio first started being made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, like just super defined narrator voice. Like no one can emulate that.
Yeah. For the style of show that the original Twilight Zone was, it was a perfect fit, you know? And that's why that show is iconic, I feel like. I mean, that's one of the big reasons.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
All of his introductions were super cool. I always appreciated that they did them at the beginning of the episodes, but the new series, I feel like, does it pretty effectively as well, in the spirit of the Twilight Zone. But they do have new episodes. You know, it's not just the same rehashed stuff, even though
It was inspired,
Nightmare,
maybe.
yeah, because Nightmare at 30,000 feet,
It's something different though.
it is different. That's the thing.
It's a different nightmare
It's-
at 30,000 feet.
It's inspired by the original Nightmare at 20,000 feet, but it's definitely a different episode. We will discuss that though, but first we're going to discuss episode 1, The Comedian.
Jordan Peele's a badass narrator.
He is.
I
it.
like the new intro too with him.
Yeah. It's definitely in respect of the original, you know, because we get basically the same dialogue even from Jordan Peele, and you know, it really works for me. It's not like the exact same as Rod Serling,
No,
but
but
he's still got the same kind of monotoneness almost, but it's kind of off-putting,
yeah, it's his
enough,
own.
you
It's
know?
his own little thing.
Yeah.
But like,
and it should
He
be.
sounds good. Like I have no qualms with this. Like, with like Jordan Peele. You know, like I fucking love the guy, and like,
Yeah.
I didn't know he would be that good of a narrator. It kind of took me off guard. I didn't think he was gonna be like that. Like, it's so weird seeing him serious. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, because he's usually so funny, and I mean,
Yeah, like
There-
Jordan Peele was the shit.
there are comedic moments in this. I mean, the first episode is The Comedian,
Yeah,
you know, and so he does inject his humor into it, sort of, but he still takes the role of the narrator very seriously, in the spirit of Rod Serling, who is always very foreboding and, you know, just
he makes you feel like
enter a realm. You know?
you just feel like some shit's about to go down when Rod
Exactly.
Serling talks to you.
Yeah, and then at the end, he just hits you with that depression
Yeah,
because it's always something really like messed up, and you think about it, and you're like, oh wow,
dude. Growing up, when I was like
you know.
3, 4, 5, 6 years old, even 7, 8, and my dad would turn on the Twilight Zone, I would just be like, nope, no, thank you. I'm gonna go in the kitchen and play video games because that's where I kept my Nintendo 64.
Yeah. I mean, even some of the episodes, like the one where they all discover that they're toys and they're trapped in a bucket or something, I'm like, dude, that's terrible. If
Yeah.
that was me, I would be, I don't know. I would want to, like, what do I do? Crack myself in half or something like that if I'm a toy? I don't know, but
Like, it's not really like, I don't want to say it's not horror. It is horror, but it's like, damn, it's not even psychological. You know what I mean?
It's like this
It's like metaphysical horror.
Yeah,
That's the best way to
exactly.
explain it. Like,
like this cosmic fucking horror.
existential horror. Like,
space horror.
like seriously, what if we are just like numbers in a computer program? You never fucking
Yeah.
know. Like, of course you know, but you know what I mean? You never know, but you know you're not. But you can never know that you're not.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone actually does, sort of contrary to that, because in the original, everything was kind of like its own story.
Oh yeah.
You know, in this one, it almost seems to be like a shared universe because you see stuff between The Comedian and Nightmare in 30,000 Feet that are the same.
Oh yeah.
You see like similar characters and stuff like that. So that's interesting. Be on the lookout for stuff because there are a lot of Easter eggs. But for The Comedian specifically, it's got Kumail Nanjiani as Samir Wasan, the titular character, The Comedian. And he is exactly that. He's a stand-up comedian.
Didn't
at
I
this,
see- he's on Netflix, isn't he?
yeah.
I know
Well,
he looked familiar.
he plays in he's got a movie, The Big Sick, I think is what it's called. And he also starred in Silicon Valley on HBO.
Oh shit, I don't
and
have
like a bunch of
HBO.
other stuff. Yeah, it was a good show. He's a funny guy, but in this episode, he's not that funny of a guy until he talks to Tracy Morgan.
Dude, who else to be Satan
I
but
know.
Tracy Morgan? You wouldn't expect it because like that's probably like one of the most beloved people
Yeah.
out there.
It was kind of funny to me though because it's like, why Tracy Morgan?
Yeah.
You know, is he just like the evil genie for comedy specifically? or
I
something
think
like
they're
that.
hinting something like that.
I don't know. Yeah, something weird.
Dude, did you see the shout out they did when Samir said to Tracy Morgan, he's like, that's a cop out. And Tracy
Yeah.
Morgan was in Cop Out.
Yeah.
I was like, I caught that, bitch.
I'm sure that Jordan Peele knew about that. But yeah, there were a lot of really cool references and stuff. But basically, as soon as Samir Wassan talks to J.C. Wheeler, portrayed by Tracy Morgan, he starts being hilarious.
Because he starts talking about people he knows in real life and situations in real
He's
life.
talking about himself, basically. Or like, yeah, his life. And it's kind of a clever device because in regular stand-up comedy, that's really all it kind of is.
Exactly,
you know?
yeah.
And some comedians definitely push the limits and they're very dark. And those are kind of like the more underground sort of comedians, you know, but the really successful guys are like Sebastian Maniscalco or something.
He's badass, I
He's
swear.
like, I'm Italian. That's his whole joke reservoir.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And everybody loves it. I love it.
And then Bill Burr's just like, you ever think about this stupid shit? Like, that's Bill Burr's
Yeah.
like,
I wanted to hit an old lady with my car today. Like, that's
Bill Burr's
yeah.
like, what is wrong with you people? Like,
Exactly.
to everybody. Like,
yeah. So it's kind of a play on that, I feel like. And I think that Jordan Peele is really trying to say, you know, if he thought of this concept, I'm not sure. It does have a different writer.
yeah.
But and it's directed by Owen Harris. But still, you know, I feel like he had to have some creative control as the producer. But
Maybe he just wanted to be the narrator. Fuck it.
yeah, no, I know, but I mean, it's kind of interesting because it's like, all right, what's happening in like humor in comedy today, you know? But it takes it into this very sci-fi direction where weird things start happening about the things he's talking about up there. So that's kind of all I'll say about it.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it because we got people here and viewers that haven't seen the new one.
But it's a really interesting premise. I just don't know if it executes that well all the time.
I felt like the jokes like weren't funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I feel like that was intentional.
Yeah, that was the message. Like,
but at the same time, it's like cringy to sit through, you know?
Yeah, it was like, I was
I'm like, this isn't that funny.
Like I got this comedian, you know, he's on like the horror everything, saying the same stuff we say about like Rob Zombie and stuff. Cal Verducci, he's like, he posted last night, he's like, you know, I'm a stand-up comedian and that's bullshit. No one ever laughs at those kind of jokes, you know? Like,
yeah,
that was not funny. That was my qualm with that.
Yeah. So
and I agree.
It is intentional, I'm sure, but it also is kind of off-putting.
It kind of had me off guard the first time it happened because he's just like, I have a nephew and he's 10 and he says I suck. I'm not funny. And everyone's like, ah, ha, 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 ha.
So that's all I want to kind of reveal about it. But
maybe it's like anti-joke police. Like it's just saying like, you
I
don't have
know.
to give up everything that you love to get everything you want just so you think, just so the people who find the most dull stuff funny and they're the ones who like make you popular, you know, like those are the guys that come out and see you all the time.
Right,
and like,
right.
So those are the guys that you have to tell your jokes for. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's definitely smartly written. It just something about it. And I will say I liked it kind of, you know,
I enjoyed
shot
it
well and lit well and everything and acted well.
and it was like, it felt like the Twilight Zone because that
Yeah.
shit kept happening every time he'd make a joke. So you're like, yo, this is legit.
It had, no, dude, the whole plot fell perfectly in line with the Twilight Zone. Like I felt like, yes, this is, and then I saw Jordan Peele. I was like, yes, this is the Twilight
You know
Zone.
how you know it's the Twilight Zone? When you start to question everything in the show, bro.
Yeah.
That was the main part about like the Twilight Zone, even like the throwback, like the Nightmare at 20,000 feet. Is there really a creature on the wing? Isn't there? Like, and they just kept going with it. And like you're constantly asking yourself this question throughout the whole thing. Like, what is really going on? And you get a definitive answer at the end and it all makes sense.
And here's the thing too, you know, to me, it kind of felt almost like Black Mirror.
It did.
Obviously it's not as futuristic as that. It's very contemporary, but more or less. But I thought that was really what this adaptation needed.
You know what it felt
needed
like?
to realize that it was modern and not do like too many cliche throwbacks.
Yeah, honestly, because that's what would kill it. Like, all right, we get it. You love the original, but no one wants to see you like throwing out an homage every 10 seconds or like even recreating the same thought process as the original. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just have it be like in a similar scenario. Like, hey, shit's going down. What's going down? We will find out. Like, that's it. That's all you need. That's the formula. What's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, we'll drop hints and it'll eventually unfold. Like, that's how it needs to be. Like, you remember when the caretaker showed us that one show with the blonde dude from 22 Jump Street and like he was doing some like some mind stuff and then like it fucked with him and he couldn't tell reality from whatever and then he ended up dying or whatever. Like,
yeah,
that's what this felt like. And but this felt like it was this wasn't trying to be too modern. That was the thing. It just was.
Yeah.
Just because of like the setting and everything and like the shit that was happening. Like it felt like a regular guy and then he just entered the quote unquote Twilight Zone. Like it just it's like for a split second anything can happen and then you're in the Twilight Zone in all of these. Like nothing is ever normal. That's why every time I started a Twilight Zone movie, even as a kid, not movie, episode, I'd be like, all right, are they like in a caged environment? They're not really in the world. And at the end, they're going to reveal like they're in some sort of like trap, like, ah, ha, ha, they've been, doing this for centuries and they're trapped in this bubble and they don't reveal that till the end. Like, that's the type of shit I like. It's that you get mind fucked throughout like the whole thing because you never know what is going on until like literally like the last 3 minutes of every fucking episode.
Well, see, here's the thing about this one specifically. A lot of the dialogue was very explicit. I feel like if it was a little more subtle, it probably would have came off a bit better. I get why it was written like that, but it doesn't make it that much more appealing. So I guess that was a gripe that some people had. Also, that it was political. Not really.
I didn't feel that at all.
I didn't. I won't say why people thought that, but
maybe because like
I don't think
it was like the Indian dude trying to appeal to what white people think is funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess so.
Because like, not all the people in the audience were like.
No, it was just like he was trying to. Yeah, he was trying to appeal to the masses. I guess.
Exactly.
I
mean, the masses are white. I mean,
Yeah.
But that wasn't like the main thing about it. That wasn't even the main message of this whole fucking thing.
Right.
It was about like. Mainly about like, I guess I would say creative control, since you have limited creative control if you have to appeal to a certain demographic. So
yeah, but that's kind of our take on that episode.
I'm just glad it wasn't art house bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really wasn't. It did definitely feel like the Twilight Zone.
Exactly.
And this next one, in my opinion, was primetime Twilight Zone, dude.
Yes, fuck yes.
Yeah,
Second episode?
Nightmare at 30,000 Feet, episode 2.
No, it's not the monster on the fucking wing all over again.
Not.
I thought it was gonna be, but by the time the dude, basically the cockpit and the monitor part, and he's like, thank you, and that's how I knew, like, oh,
yeah,
like that's when everything like fell in. I was like, oh, this wasn't even okay. Like this wasn't gonna eventually go down, but because of that, it did. Like,
yeah, this was, in my opinion, very well written. It was a good homage to the original episode, but it was not technically a reboot. So don't go into it thinking that. This is definitely a different story, but it still got the same, I guess, spirit of the original, with the plane, with the mystery. He's looking out at the wing multiple times, but it's a great mystery.
Yeah, because like it makes you think like you start to suspect everyone, and then it throws you in a completely different direction. Like once his little podcast thing is almost done, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the final revelation, like, oh, you're like, fuck, poor guy, you know? Like,
so all I'll say is this one does focus on Adam Scott as
he's great, bro.
He is, yeah. He's an investigative reporter who gets on this plane, pretty routine flight, although of course there's some weird stuff that happens at the airport that I won't spoil, but I don't know, I just thought it was composed very well. It was very atmospheric. And then once he got on the plane, he found this machine, and it had
what are you, from the 50s? You calling technology machines?
it had this player in the seat and had a podcast on it. Ironic. And so he listens to the podcast, and it's basically very foreboding. And that's all I really want to say about it. But it was a very interesting premise, very much modern, but still paying homage to the original episode really well. So I really like this one. I mean, it went in a lot of different directions, but it's kept you engaged pretty much the entire
And
runtime.
that's why it felt like a Twilight Zone like thing. Like this new one, people can talk shit all they want. People, okay, let's be real. People are talking shit because Jordan Peele is the narrator, and they hate Jordan Peele because, oh, guess why? I don't even need to touch that. Why do people hate him?
Yeah.
Because he's a black dude trying to do his own thing, and he's like, look, I've seen white people star in horror movies a million times. I'm gonna, do my own thing. And then people are like,
Yeah.
and those are the people that are talking shit about this, or the people that just don't see like the parallels of this and the original and how fucking similar they are. Like it's the same show, just modernized to me. Like that's exactly what it feels like. Sure, no Rod Serling and his Jordan Peele, but that doesn't make a fucking difference. We don't
need that.
There's still the mystery. You still feel that atmosphere that you're not where you're supposed to be. You're in that Twilight Zone. Like even they said in the episode, like, yo, human beings aren't supposed to be 30,000 feet in the air. Anything can happen.
Yeah. And so they do a good job of placing us in that different dimension. But yeah, I agree. We kind of had to bring that up because, I don't even feel like that needs to be a discussion in the horror community. And it is for some reason, not so much like right now, but it's still weird that was even a thing. And I agree completely.
It's bullshit, like
yeah, but no matter what you think about Jordan Peele, I mean, I think that you should definitely give this series a chance. The Comedian was all right, not a masterpiece, but yeah, Nightmare at 30,000 Feet.
That one was
very good, in my opinion.
Yeah, honestly, I feel the same. That was for me like a 10 out of 10 like moment, like from a TV show, because I'm not into TV shows besides now like Ash versus Evil Dead, Stranger Things, Sabrina, etc., etc. But like this is I'm staying tuned, bro. Like I know the release date of all the next episodes. I got the trial to that,
CBS All Access.
I'm gonna keep it, and I'm just gonna watch the episodes. Honestly,
it's pretty worth it. I mean,
it is. What the hell?
Watch these first 2 episodes. If you hate both of these first 2 episodes, like objectively, you're like, okay, that wasn't very good, then don't watch it. But it's only $5.99 to get CBS All Access with commercials, and $10 no commercials. It's not that bad. I mean,
and you don't only just get the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, in the previews that they showed for the upcoming episodes, honestly, they looked good.
Dude, the next one looks kick ass.
Yeah, I
thought that was Brenda from Scary Movie though. It looked like her.
Yeah, kind of, but it's not. No, it's what was her name? Sana Latham or something like that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you have a good memory.
Sometimes when I want,
I only read her name once, so I was like, yo. But it looks, I don't know. This is doing the original justice, I believe. And if we have more episodes, like episode 2, I think episode 1 was just to like lure us. I think it was gonna trick us, like, yep, this might be as good as it gets. Then they hit us with episode 2. I watched them back to back last night, and like, dude, I don't know, man. Like, I'm like super geek because it's not like if you're going into this expecting horror and monsters, and that's not what this is about. This is like you enter a parallel dimension where like they're literally. The rules are arbitrary to wherever the hell you're at, and you don't know where you're at. You don't know what you're watching. You don't know where it's taking place. That's the thing. So just watch it and enjoy. Wait for it to unravel. That was like the whole. You don't have to be spoon fed the whole plot in 5 minutes so you know what's going on.
Story
Exactly. Like if it would just be a statement if it was just like straight to the point. Like he's gonna do this or this is gonna like no, we don't need that spelled out to us. We're not troglodytes. We don't dwell in caves and all that.
So, yeah. No, I agree completely, dude. And I enjoyed the hell out of Nightmare at 30,000 Feet.
10 out of 10, bro.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about it for sure is that I really enjoyed Adam Scott's performance. Everybody performed well, but Adam Scott really knocked it out of the park.
Oh, dude, he was playing the paranoid guy very well.
Yeah.
And definitely. Like, I don't know, he was like one of those, like, he felt like he was being an entitled dick at times. Like, I felt like he was. But like that's I think what he was going for,
Oh, definitely.
Like kind of condescending.
Because that's what kind of threw him off, and that's what I'll leave it off with. But definitely check it out, guys. I think it's a really interesting mystery, and I think that you'll be on the edge of your seat, hypothetically.
You're gonna get tripped out, honestly.
Yeah. But let's move on to our very last segment. Let us know what you guys think about Twilight Zone with Jordan Peele, and as well about the Boogens. But we're going to move on to The Chopping Block. And in this week's Chopping Block, Fiends, we have a new Netflix movie.
That dropped out of the blue
Yeah.
for no reason.
Yep. Produced by Divine Conquer and Blumhouse.
You see, that's what worries me. Either Blumhouse movies can be like extremely good or like painfully mediocre.
Yeah. But let's talk about the newest one here, Mercy Black, coming out of nowhere, like you said, and surprised pretty much everybody.
Dude, I was just dicking around on Instagram and then I saw Blumhouse post this and I was just like, yo, let me send this to Barnabas. And like the second I saw it, I sent that shit to you.
Yeah. So this movie definitely hyped people up because of the Blumhouse thing. And I feel like they definitely didn't hype it up for a reason.
Yeah. Damn.
It was certainly very truth or dare-ish in well, not in style, I guess, because it wasn't so goofy, but it was just kind of the same thing that we've already seen.
You know what was sad about it is that like the whole movie was like straight up horror. I felt like it was trying to be a genre film but kind of failed. You know what I mean? It had that like deeper meaning in it. It had all the like allegories, but I felt like it took itself too seriously for what it actually was.
Yeah, because it tried to deal with all these mental health issues, because it's essentially based off of the Slender Man stabbings.
Yeah.
And just kind of hit it with this Mercy Black figure who was supposed to be the supernatural entity that these girls were supposed to like sacrifice their friend to or something in order to get whatever they wanted.
You see, I thought about Slender Man initially when that happened, but I was like, why would they do that? We already had Slender Man. And then I think back to the Slender Man movie. I was like, oh yeah, because it was a piece of shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So I understand. But see, here's the thing. They took a piece of shit movie idea for a movie like the whole Slender Man thing and made it Mercy Black. And then instead of like improving it, they just made this horribly paced, I'm sorry, there's my feelings. This horribly paced, nonsensical bullshit. I felt like this was just a movie they just threw out there just because.
Yeah.
Just the way it was put together. And even the CGI at the end was like, yo, like I didn't like hate this movie that much, but like once that fucking Mercy Black showed up and I was like, you know what? Fuck you. Like, fuck you in the ass.
Yeah. It was definitely very uninspired. Pretty much the entire movie was just horror movie tropes. Like, oh, the ghost is hiding up in the vent. Great. You know, the kid looks under the bed and then he gets up.
She's
in
over
bed.
there.
Sorry, I'm spoiling one scene, but whatever. But yeah, he looks, he gets all comfy in bed and then he looks, he's like, you know, and then he sees her.
So who is that in the vent? Because spoiler alert, I'm not going to mention anything specific. Is it the thing at the end or the thing before that was, you know, spared? You know what I mean? Like, what was that in the vents? Was it the actual thing or was it the crazy one?
Actual thing.
Okay, I thought it was just crazy.
Yeah,
fingers. We'll call it fingers.
Apparently, this movie was kind of confusing to some people because I searched for Mercy Black and I got like Mercy Black ending explained. There's a twist in this movie, but it's not that difficult to comprehend. I feel like people are just getting dumber.
I feel it too, you know? Because I think people are just looking for like allegories. This movie, there was nothing. This was just here you go, urban legend. Like that was it.
Right.
Well, they could say it was about mental health issues, but just because a movie has someone who has mental health issues doesn't make the whole general idea just about like mental health. Sure. Oh, the girl's crazy. Bro, there's mental health in every movie. Look at Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. You think Freddy and Michael were all together in the head? That's like you could say any movie's about, mental health. Like, so fucking stupid. Just watch the movie. Like, not every, like I said, it tried to be a genre film, all right? But there was no, like, really hidden metaphors. Everything was very explicit. Yo, spooky ghost, sacrifice, I'm in the vents. There you go.
And there was a lot of drama, too.
There was drama between, like, the sisters and then the sister's, like, ex-boyfriend that tried to exploit.
Which is fine, but it's like, what kind of movie do you want to be?
But then they ended up, like, he ended up, you know, whatever happened to him and the sister, like, it was just really for nothing. Like, it's like, hey, this guy's a fucking sleazeball. Also, boom. Like, and he's, you know, like, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
I can't really say my full thoughts on it.
Yeah. There was just a lot of questionable moments. And these kind of movies, I'll never really say that they're that well written. But I feel like this movie definitely had better potential than what it delivered, and it was just because it felt too
Rushed.
similar. Yeah,
It felt rushed.
yeah. It's like, hey, boom, put out another ghost movie. Like, all right,
that's exactly how it happened. Probably.
like which template do you want? Like, what do you mean? This is just one.
Yeah.
This is one template. You get a ghost movie. Here you go. And that's Blumhouse, which is fine. I mean, they have good movies.
Oh,
But, this style of movie, we've seen it.
a million times, bro. Every spooky ghost movie that's from 2000 and from 2014, because that's when these type of like movies started, till now. Like this was just like another version of what's that movie with the brother who wants to fuck his sister because ghosts want them to, or whatever the hell. You remember?
What?
We watched it. We talked about it like a few like 10 episodes ago, 20 episodes ago.
Oh, the Lodgers.
Yeah, that's what
or whatever.
this
Yeah.
movie had, that type of feel to me, even though that's not at all what was going on.
But that was
it's-
kind of cooler because the house was all like ancient or whatever.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like the atmosphere was similar,
Yeah.
but this movie was not serious enough to have that sort of atmosphere to it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it had moments, right, where like there's no suspense. Like the movie itself didn't create suspense. It just decided, I'm gonna start being suspenseful, and like it would just start playing like the deep bass and the foreboding music for like no reason. Like someone like the chick would just be like walking through the house and then foreboding music. Like, why? Nothing happened up until now. Now you want to be. Now this movie wants to be fucking foreboding.
Yeah.
Like what just happened? Like,
Yeah. It definitely goes from like a lot of sibling arguing and then to here's a ghost. Yeah.
bro, that's how it. Like Black Coat's Daughter,
Yeah.
Dark Song. They all have that same. But this movie didn't need that because this was a spooky, ghosty movie.
Yeah.
This Boo Haunted House. That's what this was.
That's like that I'm trying to be sophisticated kind of horror
Exactly,
movie.
art
And
house.
It works for some movies. It didn't really work for this movie that much.
This movie was too explicit to be an artsy movie.
Because the whole setting is just like suburban America. It's like, okay, we've seen that for the past 30, 40 years.
yeah.
It's just people stopped wearing suits and then really baggy jeans.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. But we've seen it, and it's just not that new. Like The Tortured was cool because it took place in like whatever, a hotel or
If
something.
Mercy Black looked
stuff
dope
like that.
too, that would have like made up for it.
Yeah, but she didn't really.
It's just like fucking. All right, imagine the Tooth Fairy from Darkness Falls, but way less cool,
Yeah.
way less intimidating, and not even a millifraction as strong.
Right.
Millifraction, like that's like
Yeah.
0.000. Like, didn't at one point like Mercy Black, she got poked in the eyes or whatever by like the chick who just got stabbed, and she was like, "Oh no!" Blah. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like,
It was weird. I wasn't really ever scared. I mean, it
No.
built up some decent suspense at times, but
the music made you think that.
yeah, it was
when-
placebo effect.
It was. They fucking. This movie was too explicit to be scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's what I'll say about it. For me, this movie was chopped.
Yeah. This is 2 weeks in a row we have a chopped movie.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good because I
We're
feel
on
like
a
I
roll.
have more shit to talk. Like when we just both watch a movie we really like, we'll praise the fuck out of it and we'll point out Easter eggs and like similarities and like
Mhm.
what we think inspired it. Like, oh, that's some Wes Craven shit. But this was just like, no, we don't. I don't give a fuck
Yeah.
what this was. Like,
Yeah, it was well produced. It
the
was
Changeling
shot
meets
well,
Slender
but
Man
Yeah,
meets.
it wasn't unique at all, and it's hard to be unique. But I mean, you got to do something different. We just saw Slender Man last year, so this isn't really timely at all. Now it just feels like a ripoff of a bad movie.
I watched Slender Man again recently with Mugun. He was like, "Wow, what a piece
It's
of shit."
terrible. Yeah,
Piece
it's
of
bad.
shit. I tried to give it a second chance, and I'm
No.
like, nope. This is.
Yeah, I don't know why you bought it.
This is. I don't fucking know. I just had to own it just to say, look what piece of shit I am.
I
I mean, I bought Doom Asylum. Have you watched Doom
No,
Asylum?
I haven't. Yeah, but
I mean, we sat through
Sl-
Final Exam. All right,
Yeah.
we've seen some
I
shit.
know. Slender Man though was pretty bad too, and I would say this movie is at times more enjoyable than Slender Man, but not by much.
It's like-
so.
It's like, yo, if we make the two main actresses very pretty, I bet they'll forget that this movie's very
Yeah.
mediocre.
Yeah, I think Blumhouse should probably just try to stick to their bigger stuff.
I think so.
And like, if you're gonna have an original idea, which this wasn't really anyway, but if you're gonna have an original idea, just put more money behind it, and it'll probably be a pretty decent movie.
Yeah, save these
But-
tiny ghost movies for whoever fucking bought New Line Cinema.
Ghost House Pictures, like that
Exactly,
makes
'cause
sense.
You know what? Because they make some good little bad movies. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this, some bad movies have like good value, but no, this was just like, it wasn't a bad movie, but it was just bad. I don't know how to explain it to you. Like you watching it, aesthetically it's good, the music is good, the acting is good, but then you're just like, fuck this movie. I don't know what it is. It just, I felt like I've seen it a million fucking times.
Yeah.
And I know dude, I guessed everything right that was gonna happen. I guessed everything that I was like, I wonder if this is gonna happen. It happened like 10 minutes after I thought it. I was like, yep, exactly.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but not to sound too egotistical, but you're welcome. You know, you could skip this one. You're not going to miss out on much, really.
I promised. If you've seen Slender Man and you're like, I'm gonna go give that movie another chance, let me watch it a second time, and then you hated it, still,
or if you
this
were like,
is-
fuck that movie.
yeah. So this is one of those. The first time you think it's gonna be a good movie, and then the movie just like plays through, and you're like, aha. So it's true. I am always wrong.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
That's that.
basically. So if you did watch it, let us know what you guys thought
and
about
I'm
it.
so
Either
sorry
way,
that if you watched it, so sorry you
Yeah.
had to do what we did.
either way, give us your thoughts on the movies that we talked about this week and about the episode itself. And you can do so on all our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for Grave Discussions or Grave Disc SRD.
Or you
on
can just
Twitter.
Google us. We're like the only one.
Yep. Yeah, you can also find our website by doing that, gravediscussions.net. It's all up to date with the newest episodes. We have an archive, so go check it out.
And don't follow my personal Facebook. I don't know you people.
Yeah, don't do that. But we'll talk to you through Grave Discussions. So that's going to be it for episode 55, Fiends.
Tune in next week where we bob for apples once again on Grave Discussions. I think it should be Granny Smith apples.
This has been an SRD production.